Hello everybody, welcome to this video. I have read another book, which is The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by V.E. Schwab. So yeah, I'm gonna review it and tell you my opinion. And yeah, I'm first gonna read the blurb and then I'm gonna give a spoiler review and a non-spoiler review. And if you just want the non-spoiler review, I'll put the If you just want the non-spoiler review, I will put the timestamp on screen, so you don't have to see the spoiler review. But let me first read the blurb. France, 1714. A desperate woman makes a desperate deal in the dark. A bargain to live forever, but be remembered by none. So begins the invisible life of Addie LaRue. Shadow muse to artists throughout history, forgotten friends, confidant and lover, slipping away with the morning light. Addie passes through life, desperate only to leave a trace of herself, until the day she walks back into a small bookshop in Manhattan and meets Henry, who remembers her. After 300 years, Addie's life is restarting, but the devil never plays fair. As Henry and Addie's life start to intertwine, they must face the consequences of the decisions they've made and the prices to be paid. The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue is a dazzling adventure across centuries and continents, across history and art, about a young woman learning how far she will go to leave a mark on the world. So I'll put the timestamp for the non-spoiler review people on the screen and for the spoiler people. Oh my god, this book was so good. I don't even know what to say. I don't know where to start. Okay, this book. First of all, cover, beautiful. The description wasn't as enticing as how the book is. Oh my god, why have I never read this book? I'm so glad I did, because this is... Oh. Okay, let's start with the concept. So the concept is just beautiful. Okay, so you have this woman, Adeline, I guess is her real name, like her full name, who was born in France, and she doesn't like her life. Well, she does, but she wants to experience more. She wants to experience different places, different cultures, different everything, which, I mean, not that extended because it's in the 1700s, so she doesn't really know that much about anything else, but she used to go with her dad to Le Mans and like to the market, and then she wasn't allowed to go anywhere because she was like a woman, so then yeah, that's not proper. And then she's supposed to be married off to some guy who she doesn't really know, she doesn't really care for him, so she goes into the woods, makes a deal with the devil, kind of the darkness, I guess is what he's called more, and because she worded her wish the wrong way, it's not exactly how she wants it to be, because she said, I don't want to belong to anyone, so then he made it so that nobody remembers her. So literally anytime she walks into a store, whatever, and she talks to someone and she walks out, she comes back, they do not remember anything. They don't remember she existed, they don't remember that they talked to anyone, they're just wiped. Like, their whole memory is wiped. So it was so interesting to read. I loved it. I absolutely loved it. So yeah, the concept already, like, it's so interesting. I told my dad and he was like, wow, that is actually a very interesting concept. And yeah, it was so good. And just the way, because I'm trying to find loopholes, you know, I'm like, okay, but can she do this? But I don't know her first name. The writer already thought of the loopholes, of course, because she wrote the book, and she made it so that that's not possible. Like, the loopholes aren't actual loopholes. Oh, it was so good. Okay, and then she meets Henry, who, it's 2014 by this time, so she's had a lot of life, and you keep changing between the two perspectives in the story, which is really interesting. Like, not perspectives, I mean times. So you have 1714, and then, wait, I don't know, 1714? Yeah, 1714. And then you also have 2014, and then they keep changing, and 1714 keeps furthering in terms of timeline with bigger leaps. So first it's 1714, then it's 1715, and then eventually it goes to like 1829, whatever, bigger leaps. But so you get the story. And the Darkness, who she made the deal with, keeps visiting her every year on the 29th, which is when she made the deal. So it's kind of like an anniversary. But then he sometimes just doesn't show up, because that means like he doesn't want her to be counting on it, or like have any consistency in her life or anything to look forward to. So then I think after 6 years he just doesn't show up one time, and she's so ready for him, and then he's just not there. So she's completely mind fucked, whatever. She just doesn't know what happened or why. So yeah, Luke is what she called him eventually. He got her soul, of course, because that's usually how deals with devils go. But her dream is to live forever. So it's like, okay, but this is not a very lucrative deal for me, because I need your soul, and if you don't die, what am I gonna get? So she's like, you can have my soul when I don't want it anymore. So he's trying to get her to not want it anymore and give up her soul, but she's very stubborn, which I like. So yeah, then she meets Henry, who turns out is also cursed. Well, we find that out later on, but yeah, he's cursed, and he wants to be enough, I guess is his curse. Well, that's the good part of the curse. Like, he wants people to like him, to be loved, to be enough. But now everybody just sees who they want to see. So if someone wants someone who's attentive and who's caring, they just look at him and see someone who's attentive and caring, even though he might not be. So he's like, okay, but all of my relationships are now fake, because they just see what they want to see and not who I actually am. So yeah, they meet and everything's great, and it turns out he remembers her, and she doesn't see him necessarily as who she wants him to be, which I guess she still does, because she wants someone who remembers her, and that's literally the bare minimum for her. So it's yeah, and he does remember her, so they're perfect. Then it turns out like they have great times, everything's beautiful, and then she finds out that Henry got cursed in terms of time. Like, he only had a year on the planet left, and she found that out like a month before he died. So, well, that's fun. And then she makes a deal again with Luke to be like, okay, let him live, but let him remember her. And because turns out Luke falls in love with Addie, and they're great together. Usually I'd expect my books, most of the books I read are more like it ends up with Addie and Luke being in love, because it's, you know, dark-ish. But yeah, they fall in love kind of, but Addie doesn't think Luke actually loves, because he's not human. Whole thing throughout the book, like, they keep telling each other they're not human. Well, Luke is genuinely not human, but he's like, Addie, you're not human either. Like, you gave up your mortality, so you're not a human anymore. So yeah, she gave up her immortality, I guess. Well, not really. She just told him, like, I'll be with you until you don't want me anymore. So she tried to find a loophole into the new curse thing, that like eventually she's just gonna annoy him and him not want her anymore, so it's not forever. That's pretty much the end, I guess. And Henry writes a book about Addie's life, and so she does actually leave a mark. She already leaves marks with artists, like she's inspirations for so many paintings and films, not really, but probably as well. But paintings, music, anything, honestly. She just leaves marks. That's what she does, but like small marks. Insignificant marks, kind of. Marks you don't notice unless you're told, like, yo, she did this to every single one of them. So yeah, it was such a good read. It was so well written as well. Like the words that were used, the flow of the words, the rhythm, it was so poetic for some reason. It was beautiful. I gave it 5 stars, if you didn't guess yet, because it's so good. I wish there was more, but also it's such a good ending. I'm a little bit upset that I'm a little bit stupid, so I don't really understand what she meant with like, until he doesn't want me anymore. But, you know what? I'm gonna accept it. I like it. She left her mark, like people know Addie LaRue. Henry didn't even put his own name on the book. He just wrote it as her, because it were her stories that she told him and he wrote down, so it's literally her words. So he's like, it's her book, I'm gonna gift her this. And that was really cute. Yeah, I loved the symbolisms and the way stuff kept coming back. Like them not being mortal, like Addie not being a human. The fact that time was so differently perceived by both main characters. Like Addie had infinite amounts of time, so she didn't care to do stuff again, and Henry only had a month left. Well, at the time they met 4 months, but she didn't know that. So, for example, they went to the movies, and turns out Addie had already seen it, so he was like, you've already seen this? And he actually got like upset, like, why would you want to do this again? Let's do something new. But then Addie didn't understand, like, why do we have to do something new? If I like something, we can just do this. But yeah, turns out he has to keep moving. He has to make the most out of the time he has left. And Addie's more, you know, she's already had 300 years. So she's like, yo, I do stuff again literally every day because she can't keep anything. So she doesn't have a house. So she has to sleep over at people's houses, and then in the morning they don't remember her. So every morning she wakes up, hopefully before the other person, because otherwise the other person's gonna be like, who is this in my bed? I do not remember you, I'm so sorry. And she has that every single time. She's had relationships with people where she remembers them. So she remembers the person and they don't know that they've already met or that they've been meeting for a while. So I don't know, it was so good. Like you get pretty early on in the book, there's like, she inspires a guy to write a song, but she can't actually write it. So every time she keeps going out with the guy, and then she wakes up in the morning or at night and they write down some part of the song, and then eventually it becomes a song, and she finds it again when she's out with Henry, and she's like, oh wow, this actually, like, there was a song made. Yeah, it was so good. And just, I don't know, I really liked a lot of the symbolisms, I think, and I also just liked the characters. Like Addie is really cool. Like, she's stubborn, but she knows that she doesn't want to give this up. She still, even though sometimes her life is like really difficult, because she doesn't have a home, she doesn't have a way to keep stuff. Anything she has, even if she really tries to keep it, it disappears in some way or another after a while. So she can't own anything, but she keeps going. She just accepts it. She's like, alright, that sucks, but also, have you seen sunsets? Like, have you met people? Have you danced? Have you listened to music? Like, anything. She's like, this is beautiful. So life is still worth living. There's one part where they talk. Let me try to find it. It's like at the end where Henry's supposed to die, and then she is gonna give herself up, I guess. But it's before that. So I'm just gonna quote it. I can just read it. Nothing is all good or bad. Or nothing is all good or all bad, she says. Life is so much messier than that. And there in the dark he asks if it was really worth it. Were the instants of joy worth the stretches of sorrow? Were the moments of beauty worth the years of pain? And she turns her head and looks at him and says, always. She's like, Yes, like she's been frozen to near death. She's been put in a cart of dead people, like in, you know, during like the plague and stuff like that. She's surrounded by just dead people because they thought she was dead, and she just persevered. She's just like, but life's still worth living. And she keeps saying that she still would have taken the deal, even though, for example, right after she woke up and she went to her parents' house, which was her house. So she knocked on the door, or she just went inside, and then her mom was like, "Who are you?" Because her parents didn't even remember her. Her best friend didn't remember her. This old witchy lady in the forest didn't remember who she was. So I think that was for her the worst part. And then over the years, Luke keeps visiting, and he's like, "You sure you don't want to give up?" And of course, she sometimes thinks like, "I might want to give up though," but she doesn't, because also she doesn't want to give in to Luke, which I really understand her. I love Addie. I love the book. I like the ending that she ended kind of with Henry, but also with Luke, because I kind of like her and Luke together, even though it's a little very messed up. But I like messed up. So yeah, I give this 5 stars. I love this book so much. The concept was great, the writing style amazing. I really recommend it. It's such a good book just for life and the concept of time and relationships and everything. Very philosophical and well written, and it is a little bit slow for some reason. I think I've seen reviews and pretty much everyone's taken a while to read it. But I think it's because it's like impactful, and it is a little bit, you also just notice the words, which sometimes with books it's just about the story, but this is also actually about the words that are written on the pages. So it's a pretty long review actually for one book, but that's fine. I love this book so much. It's gonna be one of my favorites. Yeah, this was really good. I loved it. It was so... Okay, sorry. That was a spoiler review. Now I'm gonna do the non-spoiler review. I really loved this book. I'm gonna give it 5 stars. It was so good. I loved the concept. I loved the way the writer worked the concept out. It's just the way it was written was so beautiful. The words that were used, the way it keeps shifting between. So when she meets Henry, and when like she got cursed, I guess, and then it just follows her over the years towards 2014 is when she meets Henry. And it's so good. It's so well written. It's so philosophical kind of, and it makes you think about time, just how people perceive time and how you should spend your time, I guess, and relationships and leaving a mark. It's really interesting because everybody wants to leave a mark. It's a very human thing to want to leave a mark, and she can't. That's the whole thing. She can't leave a mark, and it's so interesting. I swear, I really recommend this book. If you like, I don't even know what kind of genre this is. Historical fiction? Fantasy? I don't know. Really good. Just if you like good books, which make you think, and which has good characters, read it. It's really good. I absolutely loved it. I'm so glad I read this. I've heard about it, but I've never really been intrigued until I saw it, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna just buy it. I didn't expect it to be this good. I expected it to just be like, you know, a book I'll read, but it was so good, and I'm so glad I read it. It's so beautiful. I loved it. It was so good. So yeah, 5 stars. Would recommend. Great storytelling, great characters, great concept. Everything was beautiful. I really loved it. 5 stars, for sure. That was the review and the video as well. So I hope you enjoyed it. I did. I really enjoyed it. But if you did enjoy it, please leave a like, comment, subscribe. So you can see videos as well if you do the bell thing. Thank you very much for watching. I really appreciate it, and I will see you next time. Bye bye.